The number glared at me from my banking app. 010. I blinked hard, refreshed the screen, and checked again. Still zero. The emergency fund I'd been building for 6 years. Gone. My name is Peyton, and until 10 minutes ago, I thought I had my life figured out. Good job, stable relationship, and most importantly, a safety net I'd woven thread by thread since watching my parents lose everything in the 2008 crash. This has to be a mistake, I muttered, dialing the bank's number with trembling fingers. My mother's medical bill sat unopened on the kitchen counter, mocking me. I'd promised to help her with the copay, knowing I had the cushion to do it. The bank representative's voice was sympathetic but firm. The funds were transferred out last Thursday, ma'am. Multiple transactions to Genesis Medical Group. Genesis Medical? I'd never heard of them. Can you tell me who authorized these transfers? The joint account holder, Jaden Hopkins. My stomach dropped. Jaden, my fiancé of 8 months, had never once touched that account. It was our agreement. That money was my personal safety net, separate from our shared expenses. I heard his key in the door just as I hung up. He strolled in, gym bag over his shoulder, whistling. Hey, babe, he said, dropping a kiss on my head. You wouldn't believe the workout I just had. I turned my phone screen toward him. Want to explain this? His whistling stopped. He glanced at the screen, then shrugged. Actually shrugged. Oh, that. Yeah, Lexi needed it for her procedures. You know how important this transformation is for her brand launch. The casualness in his voice made my blood run cold. You took my emergency fund for your sister's cosmetic surgery? Come on, Pay. It's not like you were using it. You're so practical, which is great. But Lexi actually needs these enhancements for her career. You're fine as you are. Fine as I am. The words hit like a slap. I stood up slowly, gripping the counter to steady myself. That was my money, Jaden. 6 years of savings. He rolled his eyes. Don't be dramatic. Family helps family. Lexi's procedures will pay for themselves once her influencer deals kick in. She'll pay us back double. Us? I laughed, but it came out hollow. There is no us in this. You stole from me. Pa borrowed, he corrected, opening the fridge. And technically, it's a joint account. I had every right. A joint account you insisted on when we got engaged, for emergencies only. He pulled out a protein shake unconcerned. This was an emergency. Lexi's surgeon had an opening and her financing fell through. Mom and I agreed this was the best solution. Your mother knew about this? Of course. She's the one who suggested it. Said you'd understand, being so, you know. He gestured vaguely at me. Sensible. I felt something shift inside me then, like a gear clicking into place. My voice came out eerily calm. How much was it? Total? 87,000, he said between sips. But like I said, once Lexi's brand deals, I'm going for a walk, I cut him off, grabbing my keys. He called after me, something about dinner plans with his family, but I was already closing the door. Outside, the spring air felt too sharp in my lungs. 6 years of overtime shifts, declined vacations, careful budgeting, all of it carved away for Lexi's vanity project. With their mother's blessing, my phone buzzed. A text from Lexi. Thank you so much, future sis. Can't wait to show you the results at my reveal party. You're literally an angel. I stared at the message until the words blurred. Another buzz. Jaden. Don't forget dinner at Mom's tonight. Lexi's sending flowers to thank you. See? All good. Walking into our apartment building's lobby, I saw them. A massive bouquet of pink peonies. The card read, to my practical sister-in-law, thanks for helping me become my best self. Love, Lexi. I carried the flowers upstairs, set them on the kitchen counter, and opened my laptop. With mechanical precision, I deleted my budgeting app, then opened an old email account I hadn't touched in years, the one even Jaden didn't know about. The cursor blinked in the empty compose field. I thought of Sylvia, my old friend from college, the one who'd gone into corporate law, the one who'd warned me about Jaden 2 years ago before our falling out. My fingers hovered over the keys. Sometimes, being practical means knowing exactly when to stop playing nice. You look exactly the same, Sylvia said, sliding into the coffee shop booth across from me, still rocking that responsible adult vibe. 3 days had passed since discovering my empty account. 3 days of playing normal, of watching Jaden and his family with new eyes. Now, facing my old friend for the first time in 4 years, I felt the mask starting to crack. You were right about them, I admitted, wrapping my hands around my coffee mug. I should have listened. Sylvia's expression softened. I didn't come here to say, I told you so, though I absolutely could. $87,000 worth of I told you so. Her eyes widened. Jesus, Peyton, that's not theft, that's grand larceny. I pulled out my phone, showing her the screenshots I'd collected, texts between Jaden and Lexi spanning months, planning the surgeries, their mother's involvement, the transfer receipts. Wait, Sylvia said, grabbing my phone. Are they making fun of you? I nodded. The message thread was still burned in my memory. Lexi, OMG, can you believe Peyton still shops at Target? Jaden, LOL, right? Too practical to spend money on looking good. Lexi, good thing she saves it all for important stuff. Like my glow up. Jaden, she's too boring to spend it anyway. Sylvia's lawyer face emerged, the one I remembered from mock trial days. Have you documented everything? Everything I could access, but I need more. The actual surgical contracts, the payment trails. Those would require subpoenas, she said thoughtfully, which I happen to know how to obtain. A server approached to refill our coffees. We waited until she left before continuing. Tell me about the reveal party, Sylvia said. Next month. Lexi's throwing this huge celebration once she's healed. Influencers, photographers, the works. She's even hired a videographer. And you're invited? Better. I'm helping plan it. I smiled thinly. Jaden insisted. Says it'll bring the family closer. Sylvia leaned back, studying me. You're plotting something. I'm being practical. She laughed, a sharp, delighted sound. God, I've missed you. What do you need? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Jaden, where are you? Mom's asking about centerpiece options for Lexi's party. Another buzz. Lexi, these pain meds are crazy, but worth it. Can't wait to show you my new nose. You'll be so jealous. They always text you like this? Sylvia asked, reading over my shoulder. Every day. Want to see something really interesting? I pulled up a video from last Christmas. In it, Jaden's mother, Patricia, was holding court in their living room. Lexi's face is her fortune, Patricia was saying, glass of wine in hand. Peyton, dear, you wouldn't understand. Some women are meant to be decorative. Others are meant to be dependable. The me in the video nodded politely. The me now felt sick watching it. Classic narcissistic family dynamic, Sylvia muttered. The golden child, the enabler mother, and you, the convenient resource. I was so stupid. No, she said firmly. You were targeted. People like them look for responsible, caring partners they can exploit. The question is, what are you going to do about it? I pulled out my laptop, opening a folder labeled Party Planning. Inside was another folder. Evidence. First, I need to know if these bank transfers constitute fraud, given the joint account status. Sylvia's eyes lit up as she scanned the documents. Joint account or not, this level of financial exploitation could definitely support civil claims, especially with the documented pattern of manipulation. And if someone happened to expose all this at, say, a very public party, with proper documentation and witnesses, she grinned, that would be quite the reveal. My phone buzzed again. Patricia, darling, please bring those centerpiece samples by tonight. And wear something nice. Lexi's surgeon friend Genesis is coming to dinner. I showed Sylvia the text. Want to help me destroy a family of narcissists? Thought you'd never ask. She pulled out her own laptop. Let's start with those subpoenas. Ann Payton? Yeah? Next time someone calls you practical like it's an insult, remember that practical people make the best strategists. I typed out a reply to Patricia. On my way. Can't wait to help make everything perfect. Perfect, I thought, closing my laptop. They have no idea how perfect it's going to be. A notary? Jaden asked, watching me pack my work bag. For party preparations? Everything needs to be properly documented, I said, keeping my voice light. Lexi's reveal is basically a business launch. We want it all legally sound. He kissed my cheek. This is why you're the best. Always thinking ahead. If he noticed how I stiffened at his touch, he didn't show it. These days, every kiss felt like another lie. The notary's office was small, tucked into a strip mall. Martha, the notary Sylvia had recommended, looked exactly like what I needed, unassuming, professional, forgettable. These documents, she said, reviewing the stack I'd brought, they're quite extensive. Just being thorough. I watched her stamp and sign each page. Evidence of transfers, text messages, emails, all now legally verified. How long do you keep records? 7 years, minimum. She smiled blandly. Standard practice. My phone buzzed with a text from my brother Turner. I hadn't spoken to him in months, not since he'd moved across the country to escape our family drama. But last night, I'd finally called him. Outside your office, the text read. I found him leaning against his rental car, looking exactly like the protective older brother I remembered. You sure about this? He asked, hugging me tight. This family, they eat people like you, Pay. I pulled back, meeting his eyes. I'm not on the menu, Turner. I'm setting the table. He followed me to a nearby diner, where I spread out the notarized documents between plates of fries. Jesus, he muttered, reading through them. They've been playing you since day one. Look at this one, I said, sliding over a bank statement. Lexi's surgery costs had triggered overdraft fees in my account. Fees I was still being charged. Turner's face darkened. Does Jaden even care? He says I'm being dramatic about money. I picked up a fry but didn't eat it. Yesterday, he told me to be grateful I don't need expensive procedures like Lexi does. Grateful, Turner repeated, for being stolen from. My phone lit up with notifications. Lexi was live streaming her recovery update, showing off her bandaged face to thousands of followers. Swelling's going down, she chirped. Can't wait to show everyone the new me at my reveal party. Special shout out to my amazing future sister-in-law for being so supportive. Turner switched off my phone. You don't need to watch that. Yes, I do. I turned it back on. Every stream, every post, it's all evidence. Evidence for what? I pulled out one final document, a loan application I'd found in Jaden's desk drawer. My signature was on it, perfect except for one detail. I hadn't signed it. Turner's eyes went wide. He forged your signature? Tried to. The bank flagged it. I tucked the paper back into my folder. He's getting desperate. Lexi's procedures cost more than they planned. You need to go to the police. Not yet. I checked my watch. I have a meeting with Lexi's party planner. Want to come watch me play the supportive future sister-in-law? He shook his head. I don't know how you're staying so calm. Practice, I said, standing up. Lots of practice. The party planner's office was all chrome and white leather. Lexi was already there, face still bandaged, scrolling through her phone. Peyton, she squealed, air kissing near my cheek. You're going to die when you see the plans. We've got influencers flying in from Los Angeles, a signature cocktail menu, and wait until you see the dress code. Sounds perfect, I said, sitting down, just like you wanted. Right? And Genesis, my surgeon, she's going to do a speech about transformation and living your best life. She lowered her voice. Speaking of which, she said she could squeeze you in next month if you want. Nothing major, just a little enhancement. I smiled, thinking of the subpoenas Sylvia was preparing for Genesis's medical practice. That's so thoughtful of you, Lexi. I just want everyone to be their best selves. She clapped her hands as the planner entered. Okay, let's talk seating charts. Mom insists on the social media people at the main table. I took notes dutifully, playing my part. Let them plan their perfect party. Let them think I'm the boring, practical one who'll smile and serve and stay quiet. My phone buzzed again. Sylvia. Got the court documents ready. You sure about the timing? I looked at Lexi, still chattering about Instagram moments and hashtag strategies. Absolutely, I typed back. What better time for a reveal than a reveal party? A prenup? I stared at the document Patricia had slid across her mahogany dining table. 3 weeks before the party. Just protecting family interests, she said, sipping her wine. I'm sure you understand, dear. Jaden squeezed my hand under the table. It's standard stuff, babe. Nothing to worry about. I flipped through the pages, fighting to keep my expression neutral. The agreement specifically protected family medical investments and business development costs, including Lexi's procedures. My lawyer should review this, I said. Patricia's perfectly lined lips tightened. We need it signed before the reveal party. For the announcement. What announcement? Jaden shifted uncomfortably. We thought, since everyone's going to be there, we could set a wedding date. Make it part of Lexi's big moment. Of course. Another way to make Lexi's day even bigger. I pulled out my phone, pretending to check my calendar. I can meet with a lawyer tomorrow, I said, just to be thorough. Always so practical, Patricia smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. The next morning, I sat in Sylvia's office, watching her read the prenup. This is fascinating, she said, highlighting sections. They're trying to retroactively protect the stolen money, make it a family investment you agreed to. Can they do that? They can try. She opened her desk drawer, pulling out a USB drive. But I've got something better. Listen to this. She plugged it in, and Jaden's voice filled the room. A phone conversation with Lexi from 6 months ago. I only propose because she's stable, he was saying. Someone to play house with until I find better. Mom's right. Practical girls make good stepping stones. Lexi's laugh crackled through the speakers. Plus her savings. God, she's so boring she probably won't even notice it's gone until after the wedding. I gripped the armrests of my chair. Where did you get this? Remember Eddie from college? He works in digital forensics now. Found this in a cloud backup of Lexi's old phone. Can we use it? Legally, absolutely. Along with everything else we've gathered. She handed me a folder. Here's your counter to the prenup. Sign it. I scanned the documents. This is brilliant. I know, she grinned. Now, about the party guest list. That evening, I met Genesis, Lexi's surgeon friend, at a cocktail reception. She was exactly what I expected. Polished, practiced, predatory. Lexi tells me you're interested in some work, she said, eyeing my face critically. I could open up a slot next month. Nothing major, just some improvements. I smiled. Actually, I'd love to hear more about your payment plans. The ones you arranged for Lexi? Her perfectly sculpted eyebrows rose. That's confidential. Of course. I just thought, since we're practically family. I pulled out my phone, showing her the subpoena draft. We could discuss it privately, before the party. The color drained from her face. I should find Lexi. Do that, I said softly. And Genesis? Think carefully about your speech at the reveal. Back home, Jaden was waiting with the prenup. Did your lawyer review it? All done. I signed it with a flourish, dating it carefully. Everything's in order. He hugged me, relief evident. See? Nothing to worry about. Oh, and Mom wants you to give a toast at the party. Something about family and transformation. I'd love to. I pulled away, heading to our bedroom. I've been working on it for weeks. That's my girl, he called after me. Always prepared. In the bedroom, I opened my laptop, clicking through the final party preparations. Sylvia had confirmed the guest list, including 3 social media journalists she'd quietly briefed. Eddie would be there with his recording equipment, and Turner was flying in with copies of all the documentation. My phone buzzed. A message from Lexi. OMG, sis. Wait till you see my dress for the reveal. You're gonna die. Another buzz. Patricia. Dear, make sure your toast emphasizes family loyalty and wear something subtle. We don't want you outshining the star. I opened my closet, pushing past the practical pantsuits to the back, where a single garment bag hung waiting. Inside was a dress I'd specially ordered. Elegant, expensive, and designed to make a statement. My phone buzzed one more time. Sylvia. Everything's set. Last chance to back out. I looked at the dress, then at the signed prenup on my desk. They thought they were so clever protecting themselves legally. They never considered I might be 10 steps ahead. No backing out, I replied. Time to show them exactly how practical I can be. The ballroom sparkled with expensive lighting and Instagram-worthy decorations. I stood near the entrance, watching guests arrive in their carefully curated outfits, all hoping to make it into Lexi's social media coverage. You clean up nice, Turner whispered, appearing beside me. Very subtle. The dress I'd chosen was classic black, expensive but understated, perfect for someone who didn't want to steal focus, perfect for someone about to become unforgettable. Everything ready? I asked. He patted his jacket pocket. USB drive with all the receipts, literally and figuratively. Eddie's got the camera set up. Peyton! Lexi's voice cut through the crowd. She floated toward us in a crystal-covered gown that probably cost more than my car. Her newly sculpted face was flawless, if slightly frozen. You look nice. Very appropriate. You look transformed, I replied, watching her beam at the word. Right? Genesis is a miracle worker. She grabbed my arm, pulling me toward a cluster of influencers. Everyone! This is my future sister-in-law I told you about, the one who's been so supportive. The influencers barely glanced at me, too busy positioning themselves for photos. Perfect. Speech time in 20 minutes, Lexi chirped. You're still doing your toast, right? Wouldn't miss it. Patricia appeared, champagne in hand. Darling, you should change into something more festive. We have some backup dresses in the bridal suite. I'm comfortable as I am, I said, watching her lips purse. But the photos will be memorable, I finished. Trust me. Jaden found me next, looking nervous. Everything okay? You seem quiet. Just practicing my toast. I touched his arm, feeling him relax. Is the projector ready for Lexi's transformation slideshow? All set. Tech guys checked everything twice. Perfect. I kissed his cheek, probably for the last time. I'm going to powder my nose before the speeches. In the bathroom, I found Sylvia waiting. Ready? I pulled out my phone, sending one final text to Eddie. Cue up file X1 when I say the word transformation. Your hands are steady, Sylvia observed. I've been preparing for this moment for weeks. I checked my lipstick. They wanted a reveal party. They're going to get one. Back in the ballroom, Genesis was finishing her speech about living your truth through surgical enhancement. The crowd of influencers and society wives applauded enthusiastically. Lexi took the microphone next. Before I show everyone my amazing transformation, I want to thank my incredible support system, my brilliant surgeon Genesis, my amazing mom, my supportive brother, and especially, she turned to me with fake tears in her eyes, my future sister-in-law, who helped make this possible. Peyton, would you like to say a few words? The room applauded as I approached the small stage. Behind me, the giant screen showed a soft focus photo of Lexi's before face. Family, I began, my voice clear and carrying, is about trust, about support, about transformation. The screen flickered, right on cue. It's about knowing who you are, I continued, as bank statements appeared behind me, and knowing who others really are. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The statements showed the transfers, the dates, the amounts. Then came the text messages, Jaden and Lexi mocking me, planning the theft, joking about my boring savings. What is this? Patricia stood up sharply. I'll turn that off. It's a reveal party, I said into the microphone. I'm revealing the truth. The screen showed the forged loan application, then the prenups predatory clauses, then Lexi's social media post thanking me for support I never gave. Turn it off! Jaden lunged for the tech booth, but Eddie was faster, locking the door. $87,000, I continued, my voice still calm. Stolen from my emergency fund for vanity procedures. Documented, notarized, and now I gestured to the influencers' recording phones. Viral. Lexi's new face couldn't fully express horror, but her eyes said everything. Genesis was already slipping toward the exit. Patricia stood frozen, her champagne forgotten. But wait, I said, clicking to the next slide. There's one final transformation to reveal. The audio played crystal clear. Jaden's voice explaining how he only proposed to use me as a stepping stone. The recording Sylvia had found. The cameras are live streaming, I announced to the silent room. The documents are with lawyers, and I slipped off my engagement ring. Am transformed. No longer your practical, boring victim. Jaden reached for me. Peyton, please. Don't worry, I said, dropping the ring into his palm. I'm sure you can sell it to help pay the legal fees. You're going to need them. The ballroom erupted into chaos, but as I walked off the stage, head high in my perfect black dress, all I felt was peace. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just getting even, it's getting free. You evil, ungrateful little... Patricia's screech cut through the chaos, but her designer heel caught in the hem of her dress as she lunged toward me. She stumbled, spilling champagne down her front. Security! Lexi wailed, but her new lips couldn't form the word properly. Her face had gone rigid with panic, Botox freezing her expression into a grotesque mask. No need, I said calmly. I'm leaving, but the live stream stays up. Phones everywhere captured the meltdown. The influencers who'd come to worship at Lexi's altar were now broadcasting her undoing in real time. You can't prove anything! Jaden grabbed my arm, his charm cracking into desperation. It was a joint account. Remove your hand. Sylvia's voice cut through like steel. She stepped forward, legal folder open. Or should we add assault to the civil complaints? He let go as if burned. Civil complaints? Fraud, financial exploitation, emotional distress, she listed, handing him a thick document. You've been served, all of you. Genesis tried to hustle Lexi toward the exit, but Eddie blocked their path, camera rolling. Dr. Genesis, he called out, care to comment on the ethics of performing elective surgeries paid for with stolen funds? No comment, Genesis snapped, but her face had gone pale. Lexi, we need to... This is all your fault! Lexi rounded on her surgeon, mascara starting to run. You said nobody would question the payments. The room went dead silent. Genesis's mouth fell open. I never... That's not... The doctor stammered. Oh, God. Lexi's hands flew to her mouth, realizing what she'd admitted on camera. Patricia tried to salvage the situation. Everyone out. This is a private family matter. Nothing's private anymore, Mom, I said, nodding toward the phone still recording. Isn't that what you taught Lexi? Everything's content? You've ruined everything, Jaden's voice cracked. Her career, her launch. You ruined it. Turner stepped forward, towering over Jaden. The moment you stole from my sister. Please. Jaden turned to me, tears starting. We can fix this. I'll get the money back. I'll do anything. Too late. I pulled out one final envelope. By the way, I've accepted a job offer in Seattle. I start next month. You're leaving? His face crumpled. Already left. The apartment's empty. I moved out while you were at the gym this morning. A commotion near the entrance drew everyone's attention. 2 police officers walked in, heading straight for Genesis. Dr. Genesis, one asked, we have some questions about insurance fraud allegations. The doctor's professional composure shattered. Lexi, I told you not to bill those procedures as medical necessities. You said it was the only way to get coverage, Lexi shrieked back. I watched their carefully constructed world implode. Patricia sank into a chair, her social standing crumbling in real time. Jaden stood frozen, finally facing consequences. Lexi's influencer dreams dissolved with each new tweet and share. Peyton, Jaden tried one last time, reaching for me. I love you. Please. No, I said simply. You loved what I could give you. There's a difference. A notification pinged on multiple phones. Eddie had posted the confrontation video. It was already gaining traction. My followers, Lexi whispered, staring at her phone in horror. They're all unfollowing. The brand deals. Karma, Turner said quietly beside me. It's not always pretty. Patricia suddenly lurched up. I'll tell everyone what you really are. A vindictive, jealous. Mom, Jaden snapped. Stop. Just stop. But she couldn't. Years of maintaining appearances, of manipulating narratives, came pouring out. We gave you everything, she screamed at me. A place in this family. A chance to be something more than your boring, basic. Mrs. Hopkins, Sylvia interrupted smoothly. Please continue. The more you say, the stronger our case becomes. That shut her up. I looked around the glittering ballroom one last time. At the expensive decorations celebrating a transformation built on theft. At the family who thought they could take whatever they wanted without consequences. The papers are signed, I told Jaden. The ring is returned. Don't contact me again. But the prenup, Patricia started, was exactly what I needed, I finished. Proof of premeditated financial manipulation. My lawyer says thank you. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Lexi? The flowers you sent me after taking my money? They're dead, just like everything else in this room. Walking out, I heard the chaos resume behind me. Accusations, denials, threats of lawsuits, but none of it touched me anymore. Outside, the night air felt clean and sharp. My phone buzzed with messages from people watching the drama unfold online. But I ignored them all. Sometimes the biggest transformation isn't physical at all. Sometimes it's finally seeing clearly and walking away. You're trending, Sylvia announced, setting 2 glasses of wine on her rooftop patio table. The hashtag All-Star Surgery Funded by Sister-in-Law is everywhere. 3 days had passed since the reveal party. I hadn't watched any of the videos, but the fallout was impossible to ignore. Look at this, Turner said, scrolling through his phone. Lexi's biggest sponsor just dropped her. Says they don't support influencers who promote financial abuse. I sipped my wine, watching the sunset over the city. Any word from Jaden? Besides the 15 voicemails he left yesterday, Sylvia checked her notes. His law firm put him on administrative leave pending an investigation into the fraud allegations. My phone buzzed. Another blocked number. Probably Patricia, still trying to threaten or bargain her way out of the situation. Oh, this is rich, Turner laughed darkly. Genesis's medical board is reviewing her license. Apparently, insurance fraud isn't a good look for a plastic surgeon. A notification popped up on my laptop. An email from a literary agent. Dear Ms. Wright, I read aloud, your story has captured national attention. We'd be interested in discussing a potential memoir deal. Sylvia leaned forward. You should do it. Write a book? Why not? You've got all the documentation. Plus, she gestured at social media, a built-in audience. Turner pulled up another post. People are calling you an inspiration. Look at these comments. Thank you for showing that quiet doesn't mean weak, I read. You helped me recognize financial abuse in my own relationship. You could help a lot of people, Sylvia said softly. Turn this whole thing into something meaningful. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Eddie. You need to see this. He'd sent a link to Lexi's latest Instagram post, her first since the party. The video showed her without makeup, looking deflated. I want to apologize, she began, voice shaking. What I did was wrong. I let greed and insecurity drive me to hurt someone who trusted our family. Peyton, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Damage control, Turner scoffed. Wait, I said, watching further. Something's different. Lexi continued, tears smearing her expensive procedures. I'm entering therapy. My obsession with appearance, with validation. It's destroyed relationships and hurt people I claim to love. To my followers, please don't make my mistakes. Well, Sylvia mused, that's unexpected. Another notification. A news alert. The headline read, Social media star's surgery scandal sparks conversation about financial abuse in relationships. They want to interview you, Turner said, reading further. Major morning shows, podcasts. I'll do them, I decided, but not for revenge anymore. For awareness, Sylvia raised her glass, to turning pain into purpose. Speaking of purpose, I pulled out my laptop, opening a fresh document. Help me outline this book. We worked into the night, crafting a narrative that went beyond revenge. It became a story about recognition, of red flags, of manipulation, of worth. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from an unknown number. It's Patricia. Please, we need to talk. I showed the others. What are you going to do? Turner asked. I blocked the number, then opened my email to reply to the literary agent. I'm going to write, I said. I'm going to help other people recognize what I didn't see soon enough. And the money? Sylvia asked. The legal case? Proceed with everything, but donate any settlements to financial literacy programs. I smiled. Seems practical. Turner hugged me tight. You know what the best revenge is? Living well. No, I corrected, starting to type my book's opening line. The best revenge is helping others live better. The city lights twinkled below us as I wrote, I never wanted to be an inspiration. I just wanted my emergency fund back. But sometimes losing everything shows you exactly how much you're worth. Sylvia read over my shoulder. That's your hook right there. You think people will really want to read this? Turner showed me another viral post. Someone sharing their own story of financial abuse, tagged with thanks Peyton. I think, he said, you've started something bigger than revenge. I looked at my reflection in the darkened window. No expensive procedures, no artificial enhancements, just me, practical, powerful me. Then let's tell it right, I said, fingers flying over the keyboard, from the first red flag to the last revelation. Because sometimes the most important transformation isn't what you change about yourself, it's what you change for others. And that, I realized, was worth more than any amount of money they could have stolen. The thing about emergency funds, I said into the microphone, scanning the packed auditorium, is that they're not just about money. They're about power. My book tour had brought me back to my hometown. Turner sat in the front row next to Sylvia, both beaming with pride. Someone once called me boring for saving money, I continued. Called me practical like it was an insult. But being practical saved my life. A hand shot up in the audience. Did your ex-fiancé ever pay you back? No, I said, but the civil case resulted in mandatory financial counseling for him and his sister. Sometimes that's worth more than money. What about their mother? Another voice called out. Patricia? I took a sip of water, remembering the last time I'd seen her. She'd shown up at my publisher's office, perfectly coiffed as always, wanting to tell her side. She's writing her own book, I said diplomatically, About mistakes and redemption, I hear. The truth was messier. Patricia's social circle had crumbled, her country club membership quietly revoked, her charity board positions resigned. Sometimes karma worked faster than expected. Ms. Wright, a young woman stood up, clutching my book. Your story helped me leave my financially abusive marriage, but I'm scared. How did you find the strength? I stepped away from the podium, speaking directly to her. By realizing that quiet doesn't mean weak, that practical doesn't mean pushover, and that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. She nodded, wiping tears. After the signing, Turner found me backstage. Someone's here to see you. I followed him to a small conference room. Lexi sat there, looking different, simpler. The surgical enhancements had softened somewhat. I'm not here to apologize again, she said quickly. I'm here to thank you. I stayed silent, waiting. The therapy, it's helping. I'm learning why I needed all that external validation. She twisted her hands together. I'm teaching financial literacy workshops now, for young influencers. I know, I said. I've seen your new content. Really? Beauty is temporary, but compound interest is forever. That was a good line. She laughed softly, then sobered. Jaden's doing better, too. The counseling, it's making him face some hard truths about Mom, about himself. I nodded, but didn't ask for details. Their healing wasn't my responsibility anymore. I brought you something, she said, pulling out an envelope. Inside was a check for exactly $87,000. Keep it, I said. Use it for your workshops. But I've rebuilt my emergency fund, I told her, with interest. The practical way. She stood to leave, then paused. You know what's funny? All those procedures, trying to transform myself, and you're the one who actually changed everything. After she left, I found Sylvia waiting with Turner. Ready for the next stop? She asked. Seattle's book signing is sold out. Almost. I pulled out my phone, opening a familiar banking app. My emergency fund balance glowed back at me, healthy and whole, but now it represented something different. Not just security, not just escape, but choice, power, freedom. You know, Turner said as we walked out, Mom called yesterday, wants to reconnect. I thought about our fractured family, about healing, about the difference between forgiveness and forgetting. Tell her to come to a workshop, I decided, the one about rebuilding trust and boundaries. She can sit in the back. Outside, a group of women waited by my car. Each held my book, marked with Post-its and highlighter. Thank you, one said simply, for showing us what strength looks like. I looked at them, these quiet, practical women discovering their power. Then at Turner and Sylvia, who'd helped me find mine. Ready? Sylvia asked, car keys jingling. I smiled, thinking of all the emergency funds being built right now, all the quiet revolution starting in Excel spreadsheets and savings accounts. Ready, I said, because sometimes the biggest transformations aren't about changing who you are. They're about becoming more fully yourself, and that's a reveal worth waiting for. Let's go, I told my real family. We've got more practical revolutions to start. Because in the end, the best revenge wasn't just living well. It was helping others live better. One emergency fund at a time.